Welcome back, aliens, and let's continue with part 2 now. So we have seen all these languages, right? We started with Fortran, COBOL, and then we have talked about C language, what was that, and why they created C language. Now, question arises, why we got two languages, C++ and Objective-C, and why only Apple uses Objective-C and why everyone else uses C++. So when Objective-C was created and everyone wanted object in C language, so Objective-C was more famous before C++ because C++ was just an eye of Jardine Strasser, because he was only planning it how to build a language, and then it was in early release. It was not having all the features which we have now, because after that, once C++ was introduced, there were lots of updates. So everyone went for Objective-C initially, and then later they thought C++ is better, so they went for C++. And then at that time, next company which bought by Apple later, so they were using Objective-C for all their OSs and all the softwares. And when Apple bought Next, in fact, they were forced to use Objective-C. Again, they could have went for other language, because the problem is at that time there was no Java, there was no PHP, there was no Ruby language. The only option they were having is Objective-C, right? So they went for Objective-C at that time, and later Apple thought, everything is working with Objective-C, why we have to go for some other language? And for Apple OS also, which is your OS X or maybe iOS, they are using Objective-C there. In fact, they were using Objective-C for the last few years. So, but other than that, everyone used C++. But why everyone went for C++? Why not Objective-C? Because Objective-C is not, it doesn't have all the features which we need. In fact, Apple don't use Objective-C because it's Objective-C. Because Apple have their own framework to work with, which is called as COCOA, C-O-C-O-A, which is I don't know how to pronounce that. But then we have this framework of Apple. Because of that framework, that framework works with Objective-C, and when they combine together, it becomes an awesome language. So Objective-C alone is not that strong when you compare to C++. In fact, C++ has different versions nowadays. In 1998, C++ got the standard. So it is made in 83. It took long time to get a standard for C++. In fact, now the current one is, I guess, C++ 17, I'm not sure. So they have the year number. So in 1998 they got a standard, is 98. In 2011 also they got a standard, so it is C++ 11. I guess the latest one is 17, I'm not sure. You can see the image here. Now, so that's C++. So that's why everyone is using C++ and only Apple use Objective-C. In fact, after Objective-C, Apple is now using Swift. Again, we'll go for that later. Now, okay, so everything was good in 1983, right? Then the problem was everyone was using Unix OS, right? Because at that time there was no Windows, no Mac. The only OS option you were having is Unix. And in Unix, if you want to generate reports, if you want to create, those reports, business reports or maybe scientific reports, you need some language to do that, right? In fact, you can do that with C, but then they went for Perl language. So using Perl language, you can generate reports. In fact, you'll be shocked. Amazon, when they created for the first time, Amazon used Perl to make their website. And later, okay, so everything was good in 1987. Before I born in 1989. So after 1989, everything changed, since I was there. So yeah, so jokes apart, in 1991, we got one of the awesome languages in the world. What happened, at that time, there was a guy, he was thinking, all the languages are good, but there is no fun in languages. When you learn a new language, there should be a fun. How can you add a fun in language? How can we use a language in a playing way? So he came with the concept of Python, and Python is actually a funny language, not a funny language, but a fun language. You can, Python is easy to learn, it's very fun to learn, it's awesome thing to learn. So if you don't know Python yet, you should learn Python, you will love programming. But then if you already know Java, if you already know C#, then it will be difficult for you to, to go back to Python, because Python is easy to learn, and since you have learned Java, which is one of the most difficult language, going back to easy language is a bit difficult. It's both ways. When you learn a new easy language, if you're going back to the difficult language, it takes time. If you have learned difficult language, if you're going back to easy language, again it takes time. And that's why I have not learned Python yet. I know Python a bit, but not exactly. Yeah. So in 1991 we got Python, and then in 1994 the problem was till 1994 they were making all these networking services, websites, but the problem was they were using CGI, which is Common Gateway Interface. And if you want to create a website, which is dynamic website, nowadays we use PHP, we use Ruby, we use Java. At that time, they were using only CGI, which is Common Gateway Interface. And the CGI programming is done using C or Python languages. But then they wanted an easy language to implement server-side programming, and then they came with the concept of PHP, which is initially they were called as, I guess they were called as it was personal home page, and then they changed the name to hyperprocessor or hypertext processor. Okay, so that's their full form. Again, they have two different full form. Earlier they were having different, now they have a different full form. And then PHP was made to create web pages, and in fact one of the famous websites in the world now, which is Facebook, was built using PHP. Wikipedia was built using PHP. So yeah, so earlier language, the old technologies like technology which is created way back like Facebook and Wikipedia, they were using PHP. They built using PHP. Now Facebook is not using PHP anymore. They are using a flavored version of PHP. Again, we'll talk about that in some time. So everything was good until 1994, and then since we have PHP, there was one guy who used to think, PHP is good, but then there's not much of enjoyment in that. So he came with the concept of Ruby. Again, he was not comparing Ruby with PHP, but then he thought, let's make programming much more easier. And then he came up with the concept of Ruby. Again, Ruby was not that stable, not that famous at that time. It got famous in year 2004 or 2003 when Ruby got a framework. So Ruby as a whole is not a perfect language. Ruby needs a framework to work on, which is Ruby on Rails. So when Ruby on Rails comes into picture, this is one of the best technology. Not now, but then it was the best technology at that time in 2004, 2005. So they came with a Ruby. In fact, after Ruby came with Rails, which is Ruby on Rails, using Ruby language, Ruby on Rails, we got a language, we got a website called as Twitter. So if you know about Twitter, Twitter was made using Ruby. And then in 1995, so there was Sun Microsystems. Sun Microsystems was working on hardware devices. Now, if you're wondering, Sun Microsystems is a software-based company who makes softwares. Not exactly. It was a hardware-based company, Sun Microsystems. And they wanted to build a language using which you can create a software which can work on any platform. The problem with C language, C++, Objective-C, they are platform dependent, which means if you build a software for one particular machine, it may or may not work on other machines. So they wanted a machine they wanted a software or the language using which you can build a software which should work on any system. And then he came with the concept of Java. So James Gosling came with the concept of Java, again with a team with Sun Microsystems, and they named it as Java because we drink lots of coffee when you write a code, right? And Java, they use a symbol of Java on a coffee machine. Again, there's a big story behind that, but then the name was Java. And in fact, in the current scenario, one of the best language now is Java, right? In fact, the mobile applications are built using Java, enterprise applications are built using Java, and I know Java, so I know the only language Java. Okay, and then in 1995 also we got one more language. With Java we got one more language called as LiveScript. That sounds weird, right? We have not heard about LiveScript yet, right? So the language name was LiveScript. They also given some other language they have also given another name to it, but then LiveScript, what they used to call it. But later, they also want to promote that language, because using that LiveScript, you can actually provide client-side validation. In fact, you can create website, so you can everything will be processed on the server side, right? You wanted something to be processed on client side as well. So they created a scripting language called LiveScript. The problem is LiveScript was good, but then the name LiveScript was not that famous. In fact, people will take some time to get to know about LiveScript, right? So they changed their name. What happened in 1995, end of 1995, Sun Microsystems has given a trademark to LiveScript, and they have changed the language name from LiveScript to JavaScript. So JavaScript is not Java. There's no relationship between these two. It's just that it came after Java, and they wanted to get famous, and that's why they came with the concept of JavaScript. And again, the Sun have given the trademark, so they can use it. So JavaScript is nothing to do with Java. It's just that they wanted to make it famous, and it got famous. Right now, in the current scenario, if we talk about different technologies, JavaScript is used everywhere. Initially, it was using only at the client side. Now, using JavaScript, you can build any type of software. You can build mobile applications. You can go for enterprise application. In fact, I have a video on this. You can find that on my channel. So yeah, so JavaScript can be used everywhere on mobile application, desktop applications, website. In fact, not just client-side programming. You can also build a server-side programming using JavaScript now. I don't know if you have heard about MEAN, which is MEAN, where M is MongoDB, E is Express.js, A is AngularJS, and N is Node.js. Using all these technologies, using all this MEAN stack, you can actually make the entire application from start to end. There's no need to use Java, there's no need to use PHP or Ruby, anything of that sort. You can build the entire application using JavaScript or something, right? In fact, mobile applications, in fact, you can build a cross-platform OS using JavaScript. Not cross-platform OS, cross-platform softwares. Okay, so it was year 1995, and then around in 1997, when Java got very famous, okay, we have reached from 1950s to 1997 now. So in 1997, when Java got very famous, Microsoft wanted Java because Microsoft believes, if anything is good, it is mine. So they wanted to buy Java from Sun Microsystems, but then Sun refused it. So Microsoft has given this statement that in next 2 years, we'll be having a better language than Java. And what they did, they copied the entire Java and they came up with the concept of C#. In fact, if you put a C# code and Java code together, there will not be any much difference, right? The only difference you will find is in Java we write M small for main, in C# we write capital M. In Java we write system.out.println, in C# we write console.writeline. Everything else remains same. You have the same public static void main, which takes a string arguments. You have the same int I, int j, and then everything is almost same there. We have a concept of objects, polymorphism, everything is almost same. So C# has actually copied everything from Java, and they came with the concept of C#. I mean, there's nothing wrong with C#. It's an awesome language. In fact, it's also more powerful than Java when it comes to processing and then when it comes to software development. But then yes, it is copied. In fact, you cannot blame that. Is because when C# got famous in year 2000, C# was introduced in year 2000. In fact, the entire .NET platform was introduced in year 2000. VB.NET, C#.NET, ASP.NET, everything was introduced in 2000. In fact, before that as well, we were using Ruby, we were using, not Ruby, VB, we were using ASP, but then it was only VB and ASP. But after .NET Framework, which is a technology, we got this VB.NET, ASP.NET, and C#.NET, right? So, and in C# was having more features than Java. What Java did then, okay, C# got more features. What we can do is we can copy those features from C#. So Java copied features from C#. They came with Java 2, and then C# copied again Java concepts from Java, and they came with 2005 version of Visual Studio. Then Java again copied from C#, and then they are still copying it from each other, right? And then that's year 2000. But then after that, everything changed because there were not many languages which were introduced. So because the industry is changing now, from 2000, the industry is moving towards data. We are generating huge amount of data, and we want to process those information, right? Because of Facebook, because of Twitter, because of companies, because of sensors, because of mobile devices, we are generating so much of data. To process those data, we need a strong language, right? So in year 2003, we got a language called Scala. Now, Scala is very efficient when you compare to other languages. In fact, before that as well, we were having a language called as Haskell, which is functional programming. We were having Erlang, which is our functional programming. But then Scala is both. It's a functional plus object-oriented programming. And to work with huge amount of data, Scala is awesome. And then we got Scala language, and Scala is much more powerful than Java, right? So if you want to go into big data world, in fact, I guess to work on big data framework like Apache Spark, Scala is the best option. So Scala is the first one, Java is second one, and Python is the third one. These are the only three options you have there, right? So that was Scala language. And then in 2011, we got a new language from JetBrains called as Kotlin. Now, if you don't know, yesterday itself, Google has announced that Kotlin will be the first class language for Android. Initially, for Android, we used to work on Java. Java was the first class language. And then C++ and Kotlin was one of the supported language. But then now, Kotlin is an officially first-class language for Java, for Android. That means you can use Java and Kotlin as a primary language to build Android applications. Now, Kotlin is much similar to Java. It is actually what you say, the enhanced version of Java. That doesn't mean Java will not be used anymore, but then Kotlin is a new language, and I guess it will be future because Android is supporting Kotlin. That's a big thing, right? So again, the Kotlin is introduced by JetBrains, and I don't know if you have ever used IntelliJ before. IntelliJ is actually created by JetBrains, which is Android Studio is also created by JetBrains. So we have a big hope for that. And then in 2012, in fact, the project started in 2009. Google, we all are so proud of Google, and there was no language from Google, right? So in 2009, Google came up with their own language called as Go language. Again, you can say Go lang, but then you can remove that lang. We have Go language. So they started working on it in 2009. Again, the founder of Go language is the same founder who's created B language and C language, which is Ken Thompson, right? So Ken Thompson also worked on Go language, and in fact, using Go language, we have also created Dropbox. So if you are using Dropbox uses Go language. In fact, you can just go to Dropbox Wikipedia page. You can see there's a Go language mentioned. So yeah, so Dropbox uses Go language, and so Google have their own language. It was introduced to public in year 2012. Again, you should learn Go language or not. That's depend upon you. I would not suggest you to learn Go language now. It will take some time for Go language to get implemented. Okay, then in 2014, when again Facebook got huge amount of processing data, and somewhere PHP cannot handle those huge amount of data to work with, and that's why for processing they are using different languages like C, C++. They are also using Java for backend programming, but then they wanted a language which would be more secure than PHP. So they modified PHP, and they came with the concept of Hack language. And so Facebook got a new language which is Hack, and it works on Hip Hop Virtual Machine, if I'm not wrong, and it's also one of the most secure most secure language available for PHP framework or PHP language. Yeah, so that's Hack language, and Facebook still uses Hack language now. Again, if you're saying that .php extension on Facebook, that's actually Hack language. And then in 2014, again in the same year, we got two languages. One is Hack, and we got Swift. The problem with Objective-C, everything was good with Objective-C. The thing is, it is difficult to learn. So as a new programmer, let's say if I want to be an Apple developer, I have to learn entire Objective-C, right? So instead of that, I can actually learn Swift language, and Swift is much more easier than Objective-C. You just have to learn Swift, and you can start building iOS application. In fact, I guess Swift is the future. In fact, you can also use C# to build iOS applications, and you can also build Android application using C#. If you have not heard about it, we have Xamarin Framework. So using Xamarin Framework, we can actually build we can build one application which will work on Android platform, Windows platform, and iOS platform. But then Xamarin is not that stable yet. They are still working on it. When you compare to when you compare to the native languages like Java and Swift, Xamarin is not that strong. But again, in future, you don't know, maybe Xamarin will be more powerful than all these languages. So yeah, so that's the history of all the languages. I know it was very rapid, very fast. So if you have liked this video, do click on the like button and do subscribe for the videos. Thank you so much for watching.